Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of creating your own comic book. What we're going to do here, the speed's clearly going a little bit faster than how I went. I'm trying to get at another 15-minute mark, and I'm trying to cram everything in. But so what I'm doing is I'm going to do a little bit of character design in this video. And this is pretty primitive. I definitely don't do this when I'm doing character design, but how I design is roughly the same. But this part right here, all I did is I took 5 animals, pretty much, shaking them up here, and let's see who we get. Actually, like a descriptive thing, and an animal as well. So, you know, it could be the menacing squirrel is what we could pick, or the diabolical hedgehog, things like that. And then from that, I'm going to turn it into a very quick, very quick way to establish the bad guy for the story that we've already talked about in the first video. And then I'll show the mighty mustache as well for people that aren't familiar with what he looks like. Okay, so here we go. We got our 2 pieces, and let's see what we came up with. We have the Dr. Lizard. And I'll be honest with you, as soon as I got that, I was kind of upset. I wanted to do it again, only because right away who I think of is from Spider-Man is the Lizard. And I'm actually drawing a blank while I'm doing this video. If that's even his name, is it the Lizard? I believe it's the Lizard. I'm going to really kick myself in the butt if it's not. But anyway, so right now I'm just looking on my laptop, looking on Google to get some reference of a couple doctor images, just to get an idea of like the coat and some lizard. Now right away I know I didn't want to do the Spider-Man ripoff, so I'm trying to find a lizard or, you know, an iguana perhaps that maybe, you know, doesn't look like it, but we'll see how we go. So here we go. Here we go. I wrote the name of him down, Dr. Lizard, and sometimes I like to do this, especially when it's a character that I'm not too familiar with. I like to do a silhouette, and a lot of concept artists do this as well, especially on Photoshop. And all it is very quick, as you can see, and I'm just playing with shapes. So right here, I give him like huge shoulders. I'm just going to black him out to see if it's a little interesting. Sometimes this helps spark ideas, and sometimes it's a waste of time. But this takes no time to do at all, so I find that sometimes it's pretty cool to do. Again, playing with the shapes here, just maybe hunching them forward a little bit, giving them a little bit bigger of a head. I didn't like this right away. It just seemed a little too cartoony, a little too animated for what I wanted to. You know, I want this guy to be a bad guy, so I want him to look evil. We don't know exactly why he's evil, but that's besides the case. What I'm clearly trying to do is establish the good guy role and the bad guy role, and that second one really didn't do it. And the third one here, it's a little similar. He's got the bigger traps up above your shoulders here. You know, I'll give him the little lizard face up there. And, you know, unfortunately, I feel like this one as well is a little bit like the lizard from Spider-Man. But hopefully, the way I draw it and stuff, you know, when I actually take it to the page, I'll be adding a little bit more details. If this is for a client, what I would do when I tighten it up is I would make it all the details needed that are there, and I probably wouldn't do any shading whatsoever, any rendering. It's just nice, clean artwork so that it's not confusing to look at. So here I'm taking that idea a little bit further, and here I'm going to actually break it down into the tight line work, kind of, because I'm going to be taking it a little further. So what I'm doing is I picked one of the ones that I liked, one of those silhouettes, and I'm playing with it. I'm not solidifying that that's the route I'm going to go right away at all. So as you can see here, I'm just quickly gesturing in basically that same silhouette that we already did. And I'm looking at some lizard pictures to establish the face, because the face is going to be the selling point. And here, this one, he was looking like a lizard, but a little bit maybe more like a snake. And that really did what I didn't like. I do like the way the body shape is going. So I believe I carry that on all the way through. And in a moment here, I think I'll start to realize that it's just not working, the face anyway. But I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to keep going, because you never know what else you can get by working on the costume anyway. Just because the face doesn't work doesn't mean something else won't work. So I'm tightening up the anatomy a little bit. No real reason to be doing the anatomy too much at this point. I like to just do it just to establish where everything is. So when I put the folds and things over top, you know, it's a little bit easier for me to see. And right here, what I'm doing is I think I'm just looking at my reference, and I'm just kind of copying it this lizard. Not 100%. I'm just copying key things that I can keep in the back of my mind to remember how the structure of a face goes. As you can see, it looks more like a little iguana. Or I don't even really know what kind of lizard it was. I just in Google typed lizard, and it was one of the ones that popped up. It was a pretty big res picture. And I think even once I come up with the final design, a lot of the detail on his skin I left out. I think I gestured it, and by that I mean, like the scales and stuff, because for me, again, this is all for me, and all that stuff that I put at this stage is just little notes that I'm leaving myself for when I have to do these, when I take it to the comic page. If this was for a client, I would definitely go in there and add all that in. And here again, I'm looking at, because I was having trouble with the faces, looking too much like a snake, so I'm just looking at lizards that I kind of like, that look kind of cool, that I'm finding on Google, and just drawing the faces really simply, and again, just to get those shapes. And right here, this guy is more where we end up going with it. So I'm just getting that shape of the head, just so I can, once again, burn this into my head, that this is how the shape of the head is. It's not a human head at all. And here I'm just giving him a little bit of fangs, really sell the evil part of him. Just playing with it again, pulling and pushing stuff, just seeing what what sticks, throwing this stuff against the wall. Kind of started giving him horns, and I was like, I don't know if he's looking a little devilly. Give him a little monocule there, I believe they're called. But he looked too, as soon as you added that. So here's just a close-up again, just so you can see it. But yeah, so here's the last stage here, and at this point, I know I'm looking at the clock, and this took me about a half hour to do. Not very long at all, really, but for the sake of the video, I wanted to start knocking in a more solid shape, and I believe, I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am, but this one is what we end up going with, or what I end up going with. So here I'm giving him a little bit of a slender body, the mighty mustache, and I'll show a picture of him at the end as well, the video. He's just a mountain of muscle. So to contrast that, I want this guy to be slender. And if he's a lizard, lizards from what I think anyway, they don't look very muscular, and they don't look fat or bloated. They're pretty trimmed up. So here I'm playing with the mouth a little bit. Just watching it here, yeah, see, there we go, erase it. I wasn't feeling that at all. So here, going back to that thing that I just did, I don't even know if you guys can understand what I was doing there, just redrawing the shape that I did in the last piece of paper there, where I was grabbing my reference. And I still, right now, I can tell you, I don't like the way his face is. It looks too, what's the word I want to use for this one? I mean, I could just cop out and say it just looks like crap. I'll do some shading and some rendering in there, but definitely, and I'll be doing this more likely than not off camera once we get to the actual comic pages. I'll be taking a little bit more time, a little bit more liberty, and a little bit more care to make that face sell. Because to me, he just looks, kind of poorly drawn, especially in the face. The body, I feel a little confident doing anatomy on most things. So I don't worry too much about that, but, some key things besides the actual look of the character that you have to really sell, no matter what. It's a character design. It's the face is the number one single most important on any character. Second, arguably, is the hands. They show them a lot of the emotion, but the design itself has to be sound. And if the design, oh, look at this, we're going all over the place. I believe at this point my camera fell. So just pretend you're on a roller coaster here. Oh, what I'm doing here is I'm switching cameras. That's what it was. So I can get a little closer to show you guys as I'm working up the detail here. Yeah, so you got to make sure you nail the face and pretty much the design of the character altogether. There's things about character design I wish I had right now while I'm recording this, some things that I could point you guys out to. If you guys go to conceptart.org/forums, plenty of awesome people on there. Again, whether you like the community, I know I hear a lot of backlash about the community aspect. That's, questionable whether you like it or not. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're to just troll the forums, look what people are posting and stuff. You'll see some really awesome things, and it'll start to guide you in a direction of exactly doing concept arts for characters. And there's certain things that I've learned, and I'm still learning, and then, I'll share with you guys, but, like reoccurring shapes, reoccurring patterns, reoccurring designs. So this guy's definitely going to have some fangs. I wanted to make him look evil, like a bad guy. like a pretty visceral character. So that kind of sharpness, I'm going to carry over into the raggedness of his trench coat. I'm going to add some spikes perhaps on the rest of him. I honestly don't remember as I'm watching this video. I recorded this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I've been struggling with trying to render this video out. And right now I'm using Windows Movie Maker, and I'm hoping it's going to work, and I wish the best that it'll work, but usually I use Vegas, but that's totally off topic. So as I'm doing the face here, I'm kind of liking it a little bit more, kind of, feeling it. The teeth, this is something actually right here, now that I'm watching it, that I'm going to do, make a little mental note right now. Once I take this, when we do the comic page, I'm going to start looking at some things like T-Rexes and Velociraptors, especially for the mouth and stuff. I think that'll help me big time. And actually, now that I think about it, not necessarily a dinosaur, but a lizard, I probably should have looked at a little bit more dinosaur reference. But, okay, right there, as you can see, I'm adding spikes all around his collar. That's just, again, just to, and I think, I don't know if I actually keep those horns or I get rid of them, but, because it kind of makes him look like a cow, a little bovine or something. But those spikes and things are things that are going to carry on that I'm going to try to mentally, bring out to the rest of the image. And so I'm just going to keep, okay, so I want to pop up his collar a little bit more, just to show points, to show sharp points, little things like that that'll really help you out. In contrast, the Mighty Mustache, he's just solid muscle, and muscle's usually pretty round, pretty, I don't want to say voluptuous because that's not probably the correct term, but it's muscle. It's not necessarily hard as a rock, but it represents solidity, right? So by making him really like a solid rock, everything's smooth and round to the most part. He's got the angular chin. Everything's pretty standard when you look at him. The only difference is his mustache is actually, if you look at the way I draw the mustache as well, in a lot of the drawings, I don't do the nice smooth drawings. I kind of make it chiseled kind of to match his chin, his chin, and just the sharp points of the anatomy a little bit. And I'll show that at the end, and hopefully I'll have time here. But my camera's taken off there. And actually, some people ask me, and I can say right now while I'm waiting for this, but how I record these videos is it's actually pretty ghetto. I mean, all it is I have a piece of Tupperware, and I use my kneadable eraser. I rip a little piece off, and I just stick that to the table, put the small little piece of Tupperware on top, and put the camera over top of it. And unfortunately, that's why, things like this, where it'll always get hit, or eventually it stops becoming sticky and just starts to slowly slide. But I am still looking into getting perhaps a HD camera, and stuff like that. But we'll get into that. Actually, okay. So in part 3, after I'm done this, what we're going to be doing next is in part 3 and perhaps part 4. I'm not sure how this is going to come out because of client work that I have. But definitely the next stage is going to be doing. I'll print out the script, the 2-page script that was done in video 1, and then I'm going to be taking that to a thumbnail. And if you're not sure what a thumbnail is, I believe I have a couple other videos you guys can check out. If not, it's basically just breaking down that script in a very primitive, scribbly way. And what I'll do is probably over the course of 2 videos, I'll start to refine those thumbnails, those 2-page thumbnails, into a little bit tighter of a drawing. And now that once I have those thumbnails, I can take them and, tighten them up, make sure everything's looking a little bit better, and then we can go to an actual comic book page, and you guys can see that. Actually, I guess I should say now, I don't think I'll plan on inking it. And actually, the penciling that I'm going to be doing is kind of like how I'm doing it right now. I'm going to try to make it as tight as I can, but not the same type of tightness that I would give a client, let's say. Again, I'm trying to find the time to do this, and I want to make this come out, every Friday, providing I'm not having technical difficulties. So in order to do that, I gotta cut corners where I can, and I mean honestly, I think if you look at this, the same what's the word I'm looking for? Methodology, and the same ideas and concepts are still getting brought to it. So I'm talking probably a little too much into the future, but okay. So I wanted to give him a little bit longer of arms. Okay, I guess I'm signing it, so I'm done. I guess the video is going to be wrapping up here, so it might be black for a second, but yeah, thanks so much for watching. Here he is again. This is going to be Dr. Lizard. And I'm going to show a quick picture of the mighty mustache as well, so you guys can see him here. Right now I'm looking at a black screen, so I'm hoping that I can edit it in. If not, it might just be a stale picture of him. But I'll try to include perhaps a link into the bottom if this doesn't work, so you guys can click it and check it out. So again, thanks for watching. You guys should check out my work at jonathanrector.com. You guys can follow me on Twitter at ArtByJar. And hopefully next Friday we'll have part 3 up for you guys. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.